Hey, hello everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for Access City Council. I'm your host, City of Las Vegas Communications Director David Riggleman. Coming up on this show, the movement to end youth homelessness, how you can support the effort and take part in a summit that's tackling the issue. Plus, an organization driving meaningful change for kids throughout Nevada. We'll tell you about the special honor that group received. Joining us to discuss this and more is our Ward 1 Councilman and Mayor Pro Tem, Brian Knudsen. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
How are you?
Fantastic.
You're an advocate for children. You always have been since you came into office, and we're going to talk about that today.
I love talking about children.
You also represent Ward 1, and
there's a lot of children in Ward 1.
there are a lot of children.
There's a lot of senior citizens, too.
Exactly.
I don't know how many versus the senior citizen versus children, but it feels about equal right now.
Exactly. I think you've got 120,000 residents, households-ish, somewhere in there. You know the ward very well. For those of you out there not exactly sure where Ward 1 is located, well, don't worry. We're just going to show you on the map. It's really the heart of the city right there. It really encompasses the area just west of our downtown, but then extends all the way out into the northwest. So it's a very diverse ward. And as the councilman said, you've got a little bit of everything in that ward. So, all right. Well, one thing we want to talk about today, a movement is underway to end youth homelessness in Nevada. The 8th annual Homeless Youth Summit is returning to Las Vegas City Hall. This movement is fortunate to have a very passionate advocate leading the way. He's the CEO of the Nevada Partnership for Homeless Youth. We're honored to welcome Arash Ghafouri back to this program. Arash, great to see you again, my friend.
Thank you both for having me today.
Thank you for being here. So, I guess, Arash, one of the things I know Councilman wanted to talk about is the fact that we're actually seeing a rise in youth homelessness by about 14% since 2022. Is that right?
That is absolutely correct, yes. And we believe that's a bit of an undercount too. A lot of the stats related to young people experiencing homelessness are undercounts because they're very difficult to count because they're often hiding or not habitating in places that the public can easily see. So we fear that's an undercount.
Oh, well, tell us about this summit. You have a summit coming up on Friday, November 8th.
Absolutely, yeah. So this is our 8th annual Nevada Youth Homelessness Summit. We started it as a regional effort here in Southern Nevada and then realized that our impact, especially on our policy and advocacy work, is statewide. So we took it statewide to ensure that all 4 corners of our state are really part of the solution building that's necessary, because we believe that not one sector of government, not one nonprofit alone, and not one funder can solve the issue of youth homelessness. So we really need to band together and have a common sort of North Star on how we're going to address and end youth homelessness in the great state of Nevada overall.
And Mayor Pro Tem, that's right up your alley, because you've always been someone who's tried to pull the different facets of the community together to work together versus working in a vacuum. And so this is like your thing.
This is my thing. I think as a state we need to do far more to support children in our community, and Arash has done a great job over the last 10, 15 years that I've known him, making sure that we focus in on a very small segment of our population, but our most vulnerable segment of our population, and that's children who don't have a loving, supporting family to take care of them, who don't have a roof over their head. And so this is an opportunity for people to learn more about how they can get involved, how they can help, make sure our government elected officials are aware of the issue, and start brainstorming how we can be more effective as a community, as a state, in serving what is our most vulnerable population, that's children.
Arash, how many homeless youth do we have here in Las Vegas approximately?
Well, to give you kind of an estimate, in the entire state in a school district, there's about 16,000 plus enrolled. And here and in Southern Nevada, just in Clark County School District alone, there's easily over 14,000 young people experiencing homelessness, either with or without their families enrolled in school. And then on any given night, there's anywhere from several hundred to a little over 1,000 young people on the streets, not in shelters or other places meant for human habitation. So it's huge. And in fact, just a national study came out that there are more homeless children experiencing these situations throughout the country than the sum of all children living in 28 states. So this is a huge situation. And unfortunately, Nevada has one of the highest rates and incidences of youth homelessness throughout the country.
What's causing that? What's happening?
It's a combination of factors. There's things like family breakdown, traditional things like poverty, but also with Nevada and especially Las Vegas, there's a lot of families that move here and they don't have that kind of that backdrop support of having, 3 or 4 generations of families in the area. So when things don't work out for them or they struggle, we still have an affordable housing crisis here in Southern Nevada. We still have a living wage gap that we need to solve, et cetera. And all these issues kind of create a negative environment for young people and a lot of pressures on families, and then they break up, and then young people have to experience homelessness due to that and a slew of other factors. We have a very high trafficking rate here as well. So all these things kind of come together and create a negative environment for young people that's very difficult for them, and through no fault of their own, they have to experience homelessness. And that's where we and others come in to work together to try to be part of the solution and end that for them, because no young person should have to experience homelessness here.
The ages run the gamut, I assume?
Yeah, we serve from 12 through 24, and traditionally, by most government definitions, 12 through 24, 25 is what young people experiencing homelessness is considered.
The summit, what do you hope comes out of the summit, both of you? Obviously, you're going to bring a lot of smart people together to talk about it. What would be the ideal outcome in both your minds?
Well, for us, through the history of the summit, we've accomplished a lot of great things. Exactly what you said. It's bringing a lot of great minds together. And the summit's always had this format of learning in the morning and then action in the afternoon. So we always
We talked about that previously, I recall, yeah.
Exactly. And through that action, we've done things like released the first ever Southern Nevada plan to end youth homelessness that was adopted by the City Council and Clark County as well as the regional responses to the issue. We've passed laws to break down barriers around access to healthcare for minors experiencing homelessness, access to vital docs. We hope to go for access for higher education, because we believe that at NPHY and through the summit that we need a bookend the solution by serving young people who are experiencing homelessness right now and getting them off the streets and giving that quality of life they deserve, but also coming up with systemic solutions or fixes that are needed to ensure that the entire state, no matter where young people are at, the systems are working better on behalf of those. And youth homelessness is a very intersectional issue as well. It intersects with foster care, it intersects with healthcare, education, trafficking, all kinds of things. So it's really important that we bring a broad group of stakeholders together to ensure that we're thinking about youth homelessness from all kinds of contexts. And in fact, we're even having a panel on how climate impacts youth homelessness. So we're really thinking about the intersections and how they impact young people.
All right, Arash, I'm sure there are people out there watching this saying, it got my attention. It's obviously a problem, it's big, and what can the average person maybe watching this, what could they do to help?
Well, besides coming to the summit, because the summit's a great way where not just professionals and providers and stakeholders and government officials and policymakers can participate, but even everyday members of our community can come and learn. We have an action center that we mobilize late in the afternoon that we teach everyday people exactly how they can get involved. They can also go to our website at www.nphy.org, and they can learn all kinds of ways where they can be an advocate, they can be a volunteer, they can be a mentor, donor, etc. But everyone, even if they don't think they can be part of the solution, and we can definitely guide the way on how they can do that.
I think that's, Mayor Pro Tem, was something you'd love to see, is the community get more involved rather than, well, it's going to be the government's problem or it's some nonprofit's problem, to see the average person out there do what they can to help.
I get asked all the time, how can I give back? And so this is a great way to give back through time, treasure, talent. Find something that you're passionate about. I'm passionate about children, so I find as many ways as I can to engage in supporting systems that support children. For other people, it may be volunteering at NPHY, it may be donating to NPHY. That there's a million and one different ways to give back to Las Vegas. What I love about the city of Las Vegas is we're hosting the event here at City Hall. The city is so many things to so many people. We're the fire department, we're Parks and Rec, we're cultural affairs, we're public works. But there's so much more to our community. And so when I'm talking to people and they're asking, what are you doing about the homelessness? What are you doing to help youth? In my mind, I'm thinking we're all judged by how we treat children. That's our community has failed. A large segment of our population, children, for decades now, because we haven't focused in on those systems that support them. So this is an opportunity to come back together and rethink what the future of Las Vegas could look like. And I'm so appreciative of the city because it allows for bigger, broader thinking rather than what we're just doing, thinking about how we can be better in the future.
Yeah. Well, that's perfect then to let everybody know the summit itself is going to take place on Friday, November 8th here at City Hall. That's 495 South Main Street. Runs from 9 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon, as Arash mentioned. It's divided into some segments. A little bit of learning in the morning and action in the afternoon is kind of how it's structured. So It'd be a great event. Arash, we have about a minute left with you. I'll give you the final word. Anything else you'd like to add?
Well, you know, as Mayor Pro Tem mentioned, that I think that this is a really important issue because, not to be cliche, but children are actually our future, right? So we really need to invest in our local children and making sure that they can experience the same quality of future, and then give back and invest in our great city, in our great state too. So it's really an investment in the future of our entire community by working with young people experiencing homelessness and related issues. And for the summit, a really important part of it is that we partner with young people as well, and young leaders and young people who've experienced homelessness to help figure out the format, the agenda. And this year, I'm really proud that we're going to be working together with young people and a local coutier, and we're doing a fashion advocacy show.
Nice.
Yeah, because advocacy for young people can take many different ways. They don't necessarily just want to be interviewed or be a spokesperson or a talking point, but they really want to demonstrate, whether through spoken word, poetry, etc. And this year, we're doing a fashion show with them, and it's going to be really cool. So we invite people to come be part of it.
Be interesting. Again, November 8th, everyone.
Yes.
From 9 to 5 here at City Hall that day, and it's open to the public, right?
Yes, absolutely. Anyone can attend. We invite everyone. If there's any barriers, just reach out to us, and we'll take care of it.
All right, Arash, before we thank you so much for being back on the program. It's always a pleasure to talk with you. You're doing great work out there. So we're going to say goodbye to you, but Councilman, I want you to stick around. We need to take a quick break, but coming up, an organization driving meaningful change for kids throughout Nevada is right after this.
They say you don't have to be so strong, but this is my mother, my purpose. Strength is not optional. See, I lift her now like she raised me then, so I know my strength is super, but I'm still human.
Oh, look who's here.
Selfie. Nailed it.
Thanks for staying with us, everyone. We're back with Ward 1 Councilman and Mayor Pro Tem Brian Knudsen. Joining us now is a special guest whose organization earned a notable honor from the city. The Children's Advocacy Alliance was our October Citizen of the Month, as named by Mayor Pro Tem. And with us from that organization is Dr. Tara Rains. Welcome and congratulations on your honor. He doesn't just throw those around, so the fact that the Advocacy Alliance received the award's a big deal. So welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you. We're excited. We're very excited to be here and honored to have received this award.
You are a licensed psychologist,
Yes.
and your focus, and this is going to be very important to Mayor Pro Tem, obviously, is on the issues surrounding kids. And we heard from Arash before in the first segment. Homelessness with youth is a big deal, but we have a host of other issues. We rank so low in so many areas that relate to our kids. That's a hard thing to get our head around, isn't it?
It is, and that's one of what drives the Children's Advocacy Alliance. So we're a statewide policy and advocacy nonprofit, and we focus on the areas of economic well-being, child welfare, health, including physical and mental health, as well as early childhood, looking at that prenatal to age 5 range. And so what we do is we build coalitions of Nevadans. We find solutions that can be implemented and really move the needle, and we help develop policy, and we advocate for change in areas that affect those specific areas and the children and families here in Nevada.
Obviously, all those things, like Arash was talking about, that all those things affect a child's life. What are some of the things that you're focused on now, Tara?
Yeah, so as we go into this session, one of our main priorities has been around children's mental health. So with the Mayor Pro Tem, we, back in December, had a meeting of about 100 practitioners, providers, insurance representatives, parents, impacted youth, just folks across the community. And we came together and said, what are the most pressing issues around children's mental health? And what do you feel are the viable solutions? And so from that, we came up with a list of priorities that can be found on our website, caanv.org. Okay. And those priorities we've used, and we've worked with the Interim Health and Human Services Committee. We've worked with the Director Whitley from the Department of Health and Human Services. We've worked with leaders at our universities, UNLV and Great Basin. And we've got a group of leaders, including Mayor Pro Tem Knudsen here, who are really committed to moving the needle on those priorities, because they're viewed as a way for us to intentionally and strategically address the children's mental health crisis we have here in Nevada.
I know that's something that we've talked about on this program before, Tara, where there really haven't been that many services for children who are suffering from mental health issues. No resources for their families, no resources for them. And I know that's something that you, since you've come into office, have really been an advocate to change.
I can tell you, David, I get asked all the time is what do you do with your time as a councilman? Because most people know this is a part-time job. I don't have any other jobs. I do have my kids. And so that was my commitment to myself, is using the time that I have in the city is to try to change the landscape, if I can, for Nevada to better meet the needs of all children. And just using the experiences that I've had as a parent, there's almost nothing for children here in Nevada. It's not systematized. Finding an appointment with a mental health provider is almost impossible. Most of the mental health providers only take cash, they don't take insurance. So those are just looking at my own family, how can I make life better for my own family, and then using this position, how can I make it better for every family in Nevada? So talking about children's mental health, I knew I had to align myself with experts. So enter in the expert over here. And then we developed a legislative strategy with working with some of our elected officials to talk about what is it going to take? What are the things that we can do to build out the foundations, build out the systems for mental health care? And David, this is what people want in the community. Like I said earlier, we have so many things the city does, but when you're talking to people, they ask about how to take care of their kids. How do they make sure that their kids have everything? And so with my free time at the city, I choose to focus in on this and aligning myself with experts, making sure elected officials are informed and educated about steps we can take to make the state the place it deserves to be.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Tara, how can we improve access for kids to mental health? Is it a funding issue? Is it all the above? What do we need to do to fix this? Where should we start, do you think?
That's a great question. It isn't all of the above, right? We do need funding to guide a strategic plan, right? We need leadership at the state level. Someone who's dedicated to making sure that the green spots, the places in Nevada where there are programs going well, that they continue to get watered, and that we're not doing this redundant programming where someone gets an idea and starts something brand new, right? Yeah. That we can work statewide to make sure we're moving the needle intentionally. I think another thing that we've got to do is we've got to address our provider shortage, right? And that part of that starts with training programs. We've got to invest in our university training programs that are creating child mental health professionals. One of the innovative ideas that we are looking at for this coming session, hopefully, is looking at the model similar to what the Balmer Institute is doing up at University of Oregon, where we have a bachelor's level professional who can do some of that screening and prevention work to help with the early identification of kids who have risk, right? And then do some low-level interventions to mitigate that risk so that we're not waiting for kids to need inpatient care or waiting for kids to have full-blown mental health disorders and challenges before we're able to intervene because we're short on providers.
I just want to comment on that because this undergraduate degree I think is incredibly important for Nevada, and for anybody watching, if you have children, how it presents itself in pre-K up through third grade is its mild behaviors. And generally, if you're around a lot of kids, you can kind of pick out the kids that are struggling a little bit. You can pick out kids that have some issues and behaviors that are a little bit different than the rest of their class or their cohort. If you're able to work with them at that point in time and try to help them overcome whatever those behaviors are, adjust to those behaviors, you resolve a lot of the issues later on. These are things that I experienced as a parent, so I'm guessing other parents get to experience this as well. If we as Nevada can focus in on that early childhood portion and help kids understand what those behaviors are, we mitigate a lot of the issues later on.
And I think, if you think about bachelor's level psychology graduates, right, it's difficult to find something in the mental health workforce that you can do with that degree right now. And I know UNLV has a couple thousand bachelor's level psychology majors, right? So if we can come up with a program and implement a program so that they can actually get into the mental health workforce and really help us start to
where there's a need,
Exactly. There's a hole. Let's fill it.
Using
to your point, in the past, like yourself, you had to go get your doctorate. You had to get a master's and then go on to get your doctorate before anyone would really consider you for a job. But
using the city as a leadership, I think the city is a leader in a lot of different fields, and leveraging my position, my fortunate position. UNLV is actively participating in developing the curriculum around that undergraduate program.
That's really good.
UNR up north is developing micro-credentialing. We're working with NSU on children's nutrition and children's occupational health. So we have a gamut of higher education professionals that are really going to build out the structure, the system of mental health care. And it's coming at a place where there's not much there. There's really nothing there. And so I'm excited working with Dr. Raines, working with all the university support.
Great Basin. Give them a little shout out.
Yeah,
They're
Great
also
Basin.
working to support our rurals with the same type of curriculum.
Maybe in the 5-10 years from now, when I'm back on the show for another reason and I'm not in this spot anymore, we can say that we're better off now than we were 10
I'll
years
invite
ago.
you back.
Yeah.
Of course, I may not be here either, but anyway.
You better be.
Tara, we have just a few minutes left with you. Besides the mental health issues that the community faces, what do you think are some of the other major issues that we need to address when we're talking about our youth here?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think Arash spoke about our challenges with youth experiencing homelessness, right? That's huge. And that can often be tied to some of our youth who have gone through the foster care system. Right. So one of the things we're working on is we're looking at housing for transition age foster youth, right? What happens when they leave the foster care system into this world where the rents are way too unattainable, right? Like, how are we supporting them as they go into the workforce or supporting them as they go to college? You know, I think a lot of us, if we think about if we had a family to support us and we think about, you know, who we were from like 18 to 22, 23, right? Like how we leaned on that. I know for myself personally,
of course,
I leaned heavily on my parents, right? For support, for decision making, for navigating systems. And these youth who've been in the foster system don't have that same luxury. And so how are we as a state taking care of these youth to make sure that they're getting on their feet and they're getting stable? So that's one of the things that we're working on and see as a major challenge. Another major challenge that we're facing here is childcare, right? For those folks who do have families, who do have small children, you know, many of them are opting out of the workforce because childcare is unaffordable. One of our initiatives is to hopefully support the state in finding a way to streamline those childcare resources and create a way for providers to be able to successfully run childcare businesses here in the state.
Well, it's a fascinating discussion. I wish we had, another half hour to talk with you. But we'll have to maybe have Dr. Raines back. I'm thinking this was a great discussion and obviously a problem that our community is going to need to address well into the future.
This is how we solve homelessness in the future. This is how we solve jail population in the future. This is how you deal with issues. Is you deal with them when they're children.
Exactly right. Couldn't agree more. So,
absolutely.
Dr. Tara Raines, great to have you on the program. Great discussion, and you're doing great work out there. Continue, and two great guests today, and Mayor Pro Tem. So good for you on bringing them onto the show. So. We need to take another quick break, but when we come back, stay tuned. We're going to tell you all the cool upcoming things that are happening in Ward 1. It's right after this.
76% of employees have struggled with at least one issue that affected their mental health. When you share, you're not alone.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for sticking with us. It's now time to tell you about all the great events coming up in Ward 1 between now and the end of, until the next time you're on the program. So, Mayor Pro Tem, let's start with this. The Mirabelli Trunk or Treat. Now, everyone, if you're watching this for the first time that this show airs, it's happening right now. You want to go right now because it's Thursday, October 24th, the Mirabelli Community Center. That's just off of US 95 there at 6200 Hargrove, and it's from 5 to 8. So if you're catching this for the first airing of this show, well, you got some time to get over there, a couple hours, and take part in the trunk or treat. It's fun.
This is put on by the Mirabelli staff, and they always do such a great job. The movie in the park's fun. It's always the neighborhood kids, the kids that go to Mirabelli. They just do a really fantastic job.
I always like the trunk or treats because, you know, this way your kids get to wear their costume more than the one time. You get them a costume, and if you're just doing trick-or-treat night, that's it. But this gives you an opportunity to get some use out of it.
And kids get to have more candy.
Exactly
So
right.
they're happy with it.
And if you did miss the trunk or treat over at Mirabelli, don't worry, because we have another one coming up on Saturday, October 26th. This is at the Bolden Area Command. That's at 1851 Stella Lake Street. This is from 6 to 9. Kind of the same fare. Got Metro involved, though.
I'm going to recommend to anybody watching to not go to this one because this is incredibly busy. So if you're a parent out there, the Mirabelli is great. It's smaller. There's a place to park. Bolden Area Command is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of children. It's crazy, ridiculous busy. So just be aware that we're out there giving candy and focus in on the smaller things because that one's big.
So yeah, so if you want a smaller, more intimate trunk or treat,
yes,
you want to go to Mirabelli. If you're looking for a big crowd,
if you want to park and walk a mile, then come on down. We'll see you there.
That'll be the 26th from 6 to 9. And then this is cool, Councilman. Have you done this before? You have an Art in the Park event coming
This is
up?
our third
one.
Park,
Where have I been? So-
Rainbow Family Park. We always have a great partnership with the Rainbow Neighborhood Association.
Yep, good group.
And then we have all the vendors out there. The artists come and sell their wares, and it's a really fun event. Everyone does a really great job.
Yeah, and those things have just become so popular. We used to be there was one out in Boulder City.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of the only art in the park we had. Now we got them all over now.
We've got lots of talented people in the community that build stuff and make stuff and do arts and crafts. And so giving them a place to sell stuff it's fun and everybody wins.
And folks like my wife love to go to those. They love the Art in the Park.
She should come out.
I'm sure she will.
Yeah.
I got a hunch she'll be there. So again, this is going to be Saturday, November 2nd. Rainbow Family Park, as Mayor Pro Tem mentioned. That's at 7151 West Oakey. That runs from 10 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. So,
and that's great to bring out your kids too, because there's all the vendors that give out all the free stuff. And so if your kids are like mine, you give them a little bag and they go and just start taking the free chapsticks and the free squishy balls, and it's always fun.
It's a fun event.
Yeah.
And this time of year, the weather is usually very cooperative. So yeah, so we're gonna be enjoying it. So. Well, Mayor Pro Tem, those are good events all coming up here. So hope you if you're watching this, you get out there and take advantage, especially if you're a Ward 1 resident. And we always want to tell you, hey, we always want to hear from you. So if there's something you'd like to share with Mayor Pro Tem Knudsen, you can always pick up the phone and call him 702-229-6405 or send him an email. His address is bknudsen@lasvegasnevada.gov. You can also visit the Ward 1 website or subscribe to the Mayor Pro Tem's newsletter by using that QR code right there. I'll tell you more about that in just a second. So, pleasure having you on.
I appreciate it.
We'll have you back in 6 weeks. We're going to be well into the holiday period next time I see you on this show.
That's true.
Yeah. So, in the meantime, keep up the good work. A great discussion today, I thought, talking about youth in the community and what we can do to fix some of the problems we have.
And I like people knowing kind of what I do. Like this is generally how I spend my time, is between the city stuff and the events that you just saw, and then the children's stuff. That's a good chunk of my time right there. And raising my own kids. That takes a priority.
Other issues you're dealing with in the ward too, keeping you busy. But it was a great discussion today. I think people may not realize just the magnitude of, we've become a big city now, and some of the magnitude of the problems we're dealing with.
And we need to grow up.
Yep, exactly right. Very well said. Well, Mayor Pro Tem, great to have you here. We'll see you back in 6 weeks. Don't miss our next show beginning on October 31st with Councilwoman Olivia Diaz. You can now catch all of our KCLV shows on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. Also watch for our QR code that I told you about after this show to subscribe to that newsletter. And don't forget, you can watch us live on the internet at kclv.tv. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time around.